In Unit 5, you'll learn about comparing and contrasting in persuasive writing. So what is the purpose of comparing and contrasting in persuasive writing? We do this to support a standpoint by helping readers understand how one thing is in relation to another thing. When we compare and contrast two things, we want to point out their similarities and differences. When comparing, we might use words and phrases such as like, similar to, as well as, etc. to show similarities. When contrasting, we might use words and phrases such as unlike, in contrast to, as opposed to, etc. to show differences. So now, let's examine some questions from Practice Paper, Paper 2, and see how you can use comparing and contrasting in persuasive writing. Let's take a look at Question 1 in this unit's Practice Paper, Paper 2. Your friend Sam wants to spend his summer learning more about a different culture. He has sent you an email asking for your advice. You have researched the topic online and ran into this online post. Should I take a language course abroad or go on a working holiday to learn about a foreign culture? Write an email replying to Sam and offering suggestions to him based on this post. List the pros and cons for each choice in the email. So for this writing question, the two options you can choose to write about are taking a language course abroad and going on a working holiday. You are asked specifically to list out the pros and cons for each choice. Here are some pros for each of the choices. Of course, you can simply list out the pros one by one, but that wouldn't really give Sam any suggestion as to how to choose between the two. If you look at some of these pros, you'll notice that two of them are actually similar. So you can compare these and explain to Sam that the two options actually share at least one similarity in the sense that they offer authentic cultural experience, which actually fulfills his goal of experiencing a different culture. Obviously, you'll also have to list out some cons for each of the options. So here are some cons of taking a language course abroad, and this time we'll look at these cons and the pros of going on a working holiday we have seen earlier. If you look at these, you'll notice that two of them actually have to do with money. So this time, you can contrast these and explain to Sam that one of the options is less expensive than the other, and is perhaps a better choice if he has a limited budget. Let's look at one more example. This time, we'll look at pros of taking a language course abroad and the cons of going on a working holiday. Once again, you'll notice that two of them actually have to do with language barriers. So this time, you can contrast these and explain to Sam that one of the options might be better depending on his language proficiency. So now, it's your turn to practice. Take a look at this question in this unit's Practice Paper, Paper 2. First, list out both good and bad influences of the internet on the youth of Hong Kong. Then, write out some sentences to compare and contrast with the intention to persuade the reader to agree with you.